What's going on, y'all? What's going on, y'all? Appreciate it. Y'all tuning in. See, Choose Path Bonus is already in the building. Oh, Misha, what's good? Hey, what's good? So we're just waiting for Deniqua to tap on in so we can get this conversation started. Howdy. How's your Friday so far? Let's see. Deniqua, I see you in here. Eb, stop it. Yeah, you crazy. All right. All right, give me 1 second to try to tap her in. All right. Um, hey Deniqua, it says that you're unable to join for some reason. Maybe hop back out and come back in. Let's see. There it is. All right, tapping her in. Get this going. Oh, it says you left. All right. Let me see. All right. All right. Tapping you in now. Okay. It doesn't seem to be working. Let me see. Every time I tap you in, it says you left. Let's see. Um, I just sent a request to you, so see if you could accept that one.
Okay.
Hey,
I see
hey,
myself.
what's going
Hi.
on?
It's a little
Hey,
dark, right?
I think it's a light.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you?
My phone is horrible.
It's all good. How are you?
Ah, I'm not gonna complain. I'm not going to complain. I'm
One of those
good. I'm
days.
good. How's everything?
It's pretty good. I mean, it's Friday. I can't complain. So, first off, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Um, you are somebody that I know you're always on the grind. You're always doing a million different things. So, for you to take some time out to do this with me here today, I definitely appreciate it. Um, so yeah, so let's get going. Mark said, "I promise it wasn't me." Shout
You
out,
took my
shout out
word
to
for
Mark.
it. Well, thank you for having me. Definitely. I know you're doing some dope things, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Appreciate it.
So,
So you did something amazing. You are the author of the Glow Journal. Um,
I am the creator of the Glow
creator,
Journal.
yeah, yeah, creator, and you wrote it, right? So to me, you're an author. But so talk to me about that. So how did you start it? Um, what was the thought process behind it? Um, let's just start there.
Well, I actually made sure I brought it down with me because I knew you were going to
Yes.
ask about it. So the Glow Journal is a guided journal. Here it is.
Yes.
Um, Glow stands for Gratitude, Love, Oasis, and Wellness. So it's
Mm-hmm.
a guided journal centered around self-care
Mm-hmm.
and also goal setting,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I actually I wanted to create a journal for a while, and you know how the that self-degrading talk and
Mm-hmm.
the self-sabotage. So I
Yes.
went through that, actually started working on the journal and then tossed it to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And this year I completed it. But the reason why I wanted to create a journal around self-care is because it's something that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I felt it would be something that would be beneficial to myself and others, especially, in this world we're so go, go, go. Everything is so fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have to really be mindful and be intentional when it comes to our own care.
Mm.
So I know a lot of people are people who are doers and they're givers, but then they won't do for themselves. And I tell people all the time, and I have to also, you know, be mindful of this in my own life. Like, it's fine to be a giver, but you have to replenish yourself. Like, you can't
Mm.
just keep giving, giving, giving and not um, filling your own cup, because then what are you giving? Like, if you're not at your best, you can't give your best. So self-care is extremely important, um, for that reason, among others. So that's why, basically I wanted to create something that would help to keep that focus while we're out here living our lives and doing what we need to do. But this will kind of help bring us back and remind us to also care for ourselves and do for ourselves, because it's not selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you're doing a disservice to yourself and to your loved ones if you don't take care of yourself.
Oh, that's super powerful. And I definitely got some great feedback from the journals from some people that I know that have it, and they've been incorporating it into their morning routines and things like that, to keep them on track. So I thought that was super amazing that
Right.
yeah, that this journal is making an impact, especially in our community. I think
Right.
I'm a big component of journaling, and especially for men. Now, sometimes it's like, oh, like, oh, you dear diary, you're writing a diary, you're journaling. I'm trying to change like the whole stigma of journaling, because journaling is a good way also to release your emotions. Sometimes you don't have the right
Right.
words, maybe to speak to somebody, right? But you might can just
Right.
start by expressing yourself and writing things down, and just creating that
Absolutely.
path for yourself for wellness and mental wellness, and emotional wellness, as well. I think as men, we definitely need it. I know women, they've been on it. They've been on this self care game for a very, very long time. You know what I'm saying? So so for men, I think it's super important that we get on the same wave, acknowledge that everything isn't feminine. Like, expression isn't feminine, communication isn't feminine.
Right.
Writing in a
Right.
journal, for God's sakes, is not feminine. It's actually essential to
It's
your.
just
It's
human.
essential. It's human. It's to your. It's essential to your soul. So definitely, I'm a component of men writing and journaling as well, and I'm so glad that you were the one to come out with this journal, because it's blessing both men and women. I sent this to one of my boys, and he loved it. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh,
he's an
great.
avid journaler, and he's an avid journaler too. So when he saw it, and he was like, "Yo, man, this right here is super dope," and I'm gonna start incorporating that in his day, as well.
Um,
So I mean, that's kudos to you, and your vision, because what you took for yourself, and you made it available to everybody else, and now everybody else is being blessed by it. So definitely kudos to you, for
well,
putting that
I have
out
to
there.
really thank you so much for all your support, because you've been like one of my number one supporters in this. So thank you very much. And I will say this is just the beginning. Like this was my
Mhm.
first one. Um, but it won't be the last, definitely.
I already know. I'm looking forward to well the smoke you got. I know it's coming. I already know a lot of good things are coming. I know it's funny. I think it was last year. Could have been last year. I'm not sure. That we would talk a lot, and you had a lot of different things you wanted to do in your life, and you wanted to prioritize certain things, but you had a lot of ideas. And to see those ideas come into fruition is absolutely amazing. And I know that this is just the beginning for you. So kudos to you.
Thank
So
you.
so because you do a million different things, right? So how do you prioritize? How do you go from one to the other? Um, and how important to you is goal setting? Because to me, somebody like yourself who's doing so many different things, you've got to set some goals for yourself. And then, so how do you prioritize those things?
Um, that's a good question. So, I do a lot too much. And it's so funny because I was on the phone with a friend the other night and she was telling me like her mom is like doing a lot of stuff and she's like she's all over the place and I'm like, is
Mhm.
she an Aquarius? And she's like, how did you know? And I'm like, because I'm an Aquarius and it sounds like you're talking about me. Um, but honestly, so recently I've actually have been staying still.
Hmm.
Um, I haven't been doing everything that I wanted to do because what I find is that I'm a person who always has ideas and like I have so many ideas and it's just impossible to do them all and to do them all at once. So what I
Right,
had to learn is to wind it back, slow down and just breathe, right?
right.
Um, and then I just as far as prioritizing, I set my goals by timeline.
Hmm.
So maybe like a 10-year goal, 5-year goal, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, or a couple of months. So I prioritize that way. And then those that are closer, like the shorter term goals, I'll focus on those.
Hmm.
Um, so that's what I've been doing recently. Like I really had to step back from
Hmm.
all of those ideas and all of those visions and
Hmm.
just pick also it's just picking maybe three, you
Hmm.
know, and focusing on those. And then if those, once those are completed, then I can move on. So it's
Hmm.
just basically figuring out what I want to do first and
Hmm.
also what I want to focus on first and also what is more short term than long term.
Gotcha.
And then
So,
I write everything down.
oh, yeah. Super important. So let's talk about Choose Path Wellness. What is that? What is it about? Um, because that's your IG handle, so everybody can just go out and follow her, please. So talk to me about Choose Path Wellness.
So choose Path Wellness is actually Path Wellness is the company.
Hmm.
Um, I'm pretty sure the handle was taken, so I had to come up with a
Yeah,
name to use
good,
for
good one.
my
Yeah.
website
Hmm.
and for my IG. So the slogan is Choose Your Path.
Hmm.
So that's why it's Choose Path Wellness.
Awesome.
Um, it actually came to me in a dream. The name and what it stands for. So PATH is an acronym
Hmm.
and it stands for Powerful Avenues Towards Healing.
Wow.
And what that means is I believe that wellness is not a one fits all type of thing.
Hmm.
Um, And for me personally, like I love YouTube and I love watching wellness videos on YouTube, but I couldn't relate to a lot of them because it
Hmm.
was just like, oh, you had to have this perfect lifestyle, you had to eat perfectly, you had to exercise perfectly.
Hmm.
And for me, that's not what wellness is all about. One, wellness is a holistic thing.
Hmm.
And it's not just about eating and just about exercising. It's also about the relationships that you have
Hmm.
with other people. It's also about your environment. It's also about your finances. It's just a lot of things that factor into wellness. Um, and everyone's path is going to look different.
Hmm.
So what I consider a well healthy life is going to be different from what you may consider a well healthy life. And that's okay. Like
Hmm.
everyone has to do what's best for them. As long as you're healthy and happy at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So that's basically Path Wellness is just creating that supportive environment for everyone to strive for their healthiest life, whatever that looks like for you. Right.
Hmm.
So
Good. Oh
but like
man.
I said, it all
Cool.
came to me in a dream, the name, everything.
Wow. So dreams are turning into reality right now. That's super
Yeah,
amazing.
literally.
So, I noticed, within the wellness portion of it, you said, finances and things like that. I know you're an avid saver. Um, so do you have any tips, for anybody out there that wants to get started with saving, or wants to just change their habits and things like that with their finances?
Right. Um, so it's funny that you mentioned that because I had a realization, even though I'm a saver, even though I'm a someone who takes my finances very seriously, it
Hmm.
wasn't coming from a healthy place. So I had to realize that I was operating from a place of scarcity when it came to my finances.
Mm.
And once I realized that, like, it's helping me. I'm a work in progress, but
We all
it's
are.
helping me. It's helping me to be able to change my relationship around money.
Hmm.
Just because you're good at paying your debt off and you're good at saving, like I was taking it to the extreme.
Ah, okay,
So
okay.
so you have one extreme where you just
You
like
just throw money
YOLO,
away. Yeah.
range,
Uh,
just being careless, but I was like on the opposite end of the extreme.
hmm.
Um, so I do have some tips as far as if you want to be more um I
Financially
don't
conscious. Yeah. Yeah.
well, as far as like managing your money,
Yeah.
I think the first thing I would say is to, and I'm not a financial advisor, but
Of
I do
course.
love finance. I
Hmm.
do read about it a lot.
Hmm.
I do a lot of research.
Hmm.
Um, so the first thing I would say is just know where you stand with your money.
Hmm.
A lot of people, I'm big on budgeting, and I
Hmm.
find that a lot of people don't even know how much debt they have. And I'm just like, well, if you're trying to get out of debt, you should at least know how much you have.
Right.
That would be one thing. Also, know where your money is going. That's the purpose of a budget, is to tell your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. I think that's what Dave Ramsey's saying.
Hmm.
Um, so one, definitely know how much debt you have. To know where your money's going, create a budget to tell your money where to go, whether you want to do it I do mine on a monthly basis. Some people do theirs on a weekly basis or bi-weekly when they get their checks.
Hmm.
um, I think another thing is that's been helpful at times for me
Hmm.
um, is to live off of less. So kind of living below my means. So if
Hmm.
I have a paycheck that's a certain amount, I wouldn't necessarily spend all that money.
Right.
I would budget off of maybe $200 less than what I was actually bringing home.
Mm.
And one more tip that I find helpful is to pay yourself first. So definitely prioritize savings.
Mm.
And I don't know if I'm freezing up or you.
You're back now.
Okay. So yeah, those would be some tips, and then keep the end goal in mind because it's nothing like sometimes you got to make sacrifices now to get to where you want, but once you're there, like you'll be able to enjoy your
Hmm.
money.
Right.
You know.
Hmm. And the one thing, I would say a few years ago, I used to work in finance. I used to work in banking. And the reason why I brought up, just being mindful of money and money management is because when I would sit there and I would have customers come to me, they wouldn't know the first thing about their finances. They wouldn't know the
Hmm.
first thing of where to start of a savings account, a checking account, how much money that they're bringing in. And while I'm asking these probing questions, they're just like, oh, I don't know. Or maybe I have to ask somebody else. Like, let me ask my wife or let me ask my husband. I don't even know. And it's just like, man, like, how don't you know these things? These things
Right.
are critical, right, to your
Right.
future, right? And it's just like, man, it kind of blew my mind, so with that said, I started to just go out and do, just money management, little workshops with kids starting at a young age. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because these were grown adults, working. So I said, man, they obviously didn't learn this as a kid. Like I was blessed to learn that. I'm sure you were, and so I said,
No,
oh, you didn't? All right, cool. Yeah. So I started just going to different schools, and I started to do money management workshops with the kids and stuff like that to make sure that they understand the meaning and the value of a dollar,
right.
and how to make a budget, how to create a budget, things like that. Checking accounts and savings accounts at an early age. Obviously, it was very, very basic. You know what I'm saying? But just to get
Right.
their minds turning. You know what I'm saying? And by the time those workshops were over, the kids were kind of like, like, okay, like first they started thinking about Jordans and and and,
Mm.
and the PlayStations and Xboxes, and after that they were thinking about more so like, oh, well, what am I gonna have for how much money am I gonna have for college? And
Mm.
for books and things like that. Because once you go to
Right.
college and you have books, I don't know about you, but when I went to college, them books were expensive.
Half.com. I don't
We
think they're in existence anymore, though.
Man, I didn't even know about that, man. I started to use some of my friends' books and tried to photocopy some of their pages, man. But
Right.
but 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 that lasted but so long. And then I had to just break down and get some of the books myself. But even sometimes the used books are expensive, and it's just
Yeah.
like, and it was just a lot, and it was just like, man, like you're not ready for that. Because even if you had a little part-time job or full-time job at that time, I was making like $7 an hour. I thought I was doing something until I had to buy a book that like two paychecks took up my whole textbook
Right.
right there. I was just like, oh man, I don't have money for nothing else. So it's just super important that a lot of these kids get the knowledge that you have now. That's super important. Um,
It's funny.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's funny that so you when you mentioned that I probably learned about finances growing up,
Hmm.
and I said no, I didn't. So this is where I was operating from a place of scarcity. So if you don't teach your children, they're
Ah,
still going to learn, right?
right, right.
So my mom, I love my mom to death. She's such an amazing woman, but she was
Hmm.
never great with finances. So everything that it I learned by watching her mistakes. So she filed for bankruptcy when I was a teenager. We would have bill collectors calling. Thankfully, like we always had a place to stay. We always had food in the fridge and we always had electricity.
Right,
So like what she taught me about finances is to make sure your rent is paid, make sure your electricity never gets cut off, and make sure you always have food, even if it's a can of beans. That was what she taught me about finances.
wow,
But watching her struggle as a single parent, like I always said, I never want that to be me.
right,
So when it came for me, when it came down to me starting to um, take care of myself and take care of myself financially, then I went to that other extreme. Then it was just
right,
like, oh no, debt, like I can't have that at all. Like it
right,
would give
right,
me anxiety. But I learned in not a great way.
right, right,
I
right.
learned what I didn't want, but I took it to that extreme. So even though like it looked like I had my finances together from the outside,
Hmm.
I was operating from that place of scarcity of not having enough.
Right. There. And then now, so now like you have like a happy medium, or you're working towards having that
I'm
balance.
working towards it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have my husband to keep me grounded.
Yeah. 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 Mark's saying spend a little bit of money, please. Spend a little bit of money on me, please.
I mean, I've gotten better. I've gotten a lot better. Like if you ever like, I was even cheap as a kid. It was horrible, but I've got.
Wesley says, "School as we know it is no more. These kids now will all be digital." It's 100% true. Like as when I was doing the workshops in school, it's gonna be completely different. It's gonna be completely different
Yeah,
now. It's gonna be a lot of Zooms now. Great conversation, man. I appreciate you, bro.
but
You know,
you know what? Like, kids nowadays they don't know it because this is just all they know, but they have a lot of resources at their fingertips. That's why I say is really ignorance is no excuse anymore. There's
hmm
just so many resources at our disposal and so tons of free resources. Like we have no excuse unless
hmm
we're just not looking for the information.
Right.
Um, but yeah, school as we know it is definitely changing.
It's
Learning as we
different.
know it is definitely changing, but it's still it can be a good thing, but you have to take advantage of all the opportunity and all the resources that are at your disposal,
Yeah.
definitely.
They have a lot more resources than we did as a kid. That is for
Right. I
sure.
remember going to the library, pulling out that encyclopedia, looking through remember the libraries had the before they had the computerized system, they had the little cards
Yeah,
and the
yes. Yeah, I remember all that. I used to have to, yeah, I used to do all that. Yep. That was my elementary school right there. Right there. We used to go to the
right.
library and just
Now
right there.
now
That's it.
everything like you just type it in, bam, so much information. I mean, you have to sort through what's nonsense and what isn't, but um
The
it's
interesting
just
thing,
so much information.
the interesting thing is that sometimes for kids it's too much information. I think as good as it is, it's sometimes it could be overwhelming. I think to kids,
Mhm.
depending on the age and of course like what they're taking in. But sometimes, like when I'm looking at how much information even I'm getting between the news, social media,
Oh
YouTube,
yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case is, Twitter, it's a lot of information. And obviously, all of it's not good. A lot of it's
Mhm.
negative, and I know that it can affect a lot of people's mental health,
Right,
and even adults in a negative way. You know what I'm saying?
right.
I know sometimes me, like, I have to sometimes try to pull away because like YouTube is like a black hole. You go from one video to one video to one video to the sub video to that video, and then like and you're just like so much, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like I need a break. So as good as the information is, I think there's got to be a way that we can kind of, I'm not gonna say limit, but just kind of taper just what or how much information that your kid is getting, right?
Oh
In
yeah.
a single day, because it could be detrimental to their mental health too.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Definitely.
so speaking of mental health, so what do you do to kind of make sure that you're in a good place in your own life? You know what I'm saying? I mean, people do different things. I had somebody on 2 days ago that does yoga and it helped them so much. You know what I'm saying? Some
I
people
love
just,
yoga.
yeah, some people just pray. Some people just do many different things. So I just kind of just want to get your input. Just what do you do?
So it depends. If I'm frustrated, the first thing I want to do is air out my grievances.
Air out your grievances. Just air it out, right?
Out my grievances. Like that sounds so funny, but I definitely need to just express it. And I think because if I hold that in, it'll manifest
hmm
in different ways, and it's not good to hold things in.
hmm
That can manifest in physical ways. So
Yes.
I definitely and I have thyroid issues,
hmm
so that's like the throat and the throat chakra. And so it's important for me, especially now, to start voicing when something bothers me. So I'll let it out that way.
hmm
Also, what I like to do is meditate.
mm
Um, and meditation helps me to, I've been really trying to focus on my breath. Um, Especially now, like with everything that's going on in the Black community, Black Lives Matter, and
hmm
we had all those protests, and we had a lot of people with the chant, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. Like
mm
it's important to focus on that breath.
mm
Um, so yeah, meditation, breathing exercises. Um, and sometimes, like lately, I've been off social media. like
Hmm.
just off of social media,
Okay.
because I just need to focus on me and my family right now.
Hmm.
So just disconnecting when I need to
Mm.
helps. Taking a nap. Like, so there's just different things that I may do, listening to music. I love to dance. So just finding things that bring me joy, or just
Mm.
finding gratitude in a situation, cuz like sometimes I'll be complaining about something and then I'll be like, all right, let me find what's, good about this.
Right. Hmm.
So things like that will help me to stay balanced mentally. Also, doing brain exercises. So like I'll do puzzles, and I have this app. I forgot what it's called, but it does different brain exercises to keep your mind sharp. So things like
Hmm.
that.
Super dope. I think those are all really good tips that we could all take from you and just pick what's best for us too.
Right.
Um, because, I grew up, well, we grew up in an era where they always say, what I mean, like you sleep when you're dead, and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
like that, sleep is the cousin of death. And I soaked that in a lot, so much that even now at my age, like I don't like I'm a night owl. Like I don't sleep a lot, you know what I mean? Because back then I just always was on the go, always on the go, always on the go, always
Be
on the
on the
go.
grind, grinding.
Always,
Yeah.
always. And so I think that now we have distorted that message, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like no, like you should sleep. I'm not saying sleep for 12 or 13 hours, but I mean, but we glorify the grind, but we really don't really understand what that does to our body. You know what I'm saying? I think
Hmm.
we have to pay attention to our bodies, pay attention to, whether we're being sleep deprived and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
that can affect all of your physical health, especially being from New York. Everything is about just go, 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 go. You know what I'm saying? And just that's it. You know what I mean? Like don't worry about nothing else, just grind. And you end up grinding yourself into the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mentally and then physically. So it's just something that, as I got older, I realized it and I was like, man, sometimes, man, you gotta just take a step back and slow down. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Slow all the way down because
Hmm.
at some point life is gonna either slow you down or put you down. It's just one of the
Right.
two. It's one of the two things because you keep running yourself ragged. You know what I'm saying? And in our
Exactly.
era, in our era, that's all it was. You know what I'm saying? P Diddy can't stop, won't stop. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is. But it's like we took it literally, and it's just like, nah, bro. Like we need sleep. Like you need to sleep. You do need to rest. It is okay to
Right.
do so. And some people say, oh, like while y'all sleeping, I'm making money. But it's like not everything is about the money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could be making money for a short period of time until your body tells you that's it. You know what I'm saying? So like we got one body, so it's so important that we take care of ours.
Right.
So
You have one life. So like, when do you enjoy it?
right, right. You're so busy being on the grind that you don't even look up and celebrate anything of yourself. you
Hmm.
know and that's what happens in anxiety. The depression comes in, the health problems come in. You get like heart attacks and brain aneurysms. You know what I'm saying? It this doesn't come from not eating right. That's a part of it, right? But it also
Oh yeah.
comes but it also comes from everything that's going on within here and your
Mhm.
stomach and things like that. Everything is connected in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just so very important that we take care of our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health, and of course our physical health. You know, um, so you're doing an amazing job. So first of all, tell people where they can get the Glow Journal. Tell people where they can get it at.
It's on Amazon. Just
Mm-hmm.
type in Glow Journal and it'll come up.
Mm-hmm.
So they can get it directly off of Amazon.
Dope. I think it's an amazing body of work. I know that you're gonna do so much more. I know that you have another meeting at well, it's in a few minutes that you have to get to, right?
Well, yeah, I have 10 minutes. I'm good.
Okay, cool. So where do you see True well Path Wonders going? Like, what's next? I'm not saying you
Um,
gotta give us an exclusive as far as like projects, but like, where do you see that growing into?
um, so actually I started a YouTube channel just to share my personal journey. It's called Path Wellness, so you
Mm-hmm.
can look it up on YouTube.
Dope.
But So right now I'm actually focused on creating like a so I've been into gardening, right? I got
Yo,
into
I
gardening
see all
last
that.
year.
I see all you out there picking everything. You got all the food out there, the vegetables. I'm sitting here like, yo, man, she growing her own stuff out there. You doing it's crazy. You
Yeah,
doing
it's,
good.
it's and that's another thing that I do for relaxation and to just unwind.
Hmm.
But so that started as a hobby, but now it's kind of like what I want to do and incorporate that into Path Wellness is to create kind of like a communal living situation where
Hmm.
we're focused on being more self-sufficient,
Hmm.
especially in the Black and Hispanic communities.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, we already know, like, when it comes to food disparities and things of that nature, like we are at the short end of the stick when it comes to having access to healthy foods.
Hmm.
But I really feel like we should be taking this into our own hands and taking our power back.
Hmm.
So I would really love to inspire more people to start growing their own food,
Hmm.
and becoming more self-sufficient in that way, so that our communities can have access to more healthy foods. When you look at food deserts, it's in primarily Black and Hispanic communities, and we either they're not having access to grocery stores,
Right.
or our neighborhoods are overrun with a lot of fast food.
Bodegas.
Um,
Hmm.
right. And it's part of our culture, but at the same time, we deserve to have fresh, healthy food. So I think that's where my focus is now, just because you wouldn't believe how many people I meet and they just think I'm some garden guru. And I'm like, yo, I just started. Like, you can do this too. And people are so intimidated by growing their own food. And I'm just like, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I had no idea what I was doing. Um, but you just have to do it. And you learn as you go. It's easier than we think, because Mother Nature, she knows what to do.
Mm.
Like, there's enough food on this earth, like, to feed us all, and Mother Nature knows how to keep that food supply going. So we just have to do the basics for the most part. There are things that you know are helpful to know, but just that's where I'm headed with Path Wellness right now. Just focusing on the food aspect as far as growing food and creating a more self-sufficient community. I would love to have kind of like a cooperative
Hmm.
of people, my people, where if we're living together on our land that we own, we're taking care of ourselves, where we don't have to ask anybody for anything.
Wow.
There's no reason that we should have to ask people to treat us like human beings and give us things that we're entitled to. We need to just take our power back and do it for ourselves.
Mm. That was a word
So
right there. Hmm.
I don't know. That's where I'm
That's a
headed now.
word. Oh, that's amazing. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people that it's a little intimidating for me to, start growing my own food. I'm not even gonna even tell you that lie that I was even thinking about being on the way to doing that. All right, that right there.
I
I
mean,
see people
listen,
do it, and I'm like, wow, man, that is amazing. But I wouldn't even know where to go, where to start. Talking about growing your own food. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But
I know either. I didn't know. I'm not saying that everybody has to or everybody should, but there are a
hmm
lot of people who are interested. They're just intimidated by it, and
hmm
I try to encourage them. I share what I know and what I'm learning.
hmm
But it's really like
hmm
it's not hard.
What I would love, for you, I would love to be able to get this journal into some schools. Um, I gotta talk to, if Court is on here. Courtney, I see you join. I'm not sure if you're still in here, but um, see if there's some way that if possibly because I know some small businesses can be worked out to be a vendor of, with the New York Department of Education or something like that, and be a vendor somehow or another. Because I believe that if we can get this journal, that was written by a person of color, amazing, created by a person of color like yourself, who put your all into it, to be able to get that into some of these schools' hands. I think when kids are able to express themselves in a healthy way, I think that that's when we start having a lot of more meaningful conversations. Um,
Mhm.
I'm not sure. I don't think you do. You don't have a DOE vendor license, do you?
No,
No,
I
right?
don't.
No, she doesn't. But she's a creator of a incredible journal that I think that could benefit a lot of kids, and adults, of course. But I just was just trying to see how we can try to get this journal more spread out, and get it into some of these children's hands in different schools. That would be super um amazing. So we could support a Black queen here, who is a creative, and also be able to help our youth as well. Um, so if there's any type of advice, Court, that maybe that, or ways that maybe that we can make that happen. I'm not sure if you even know. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Court, but just just let me know. Let us know, and we'll see how we can make that happen in some type of way. It is called the Glow Journal. It is amazing. Okay, she said, go online and get the license. The process is fairly quick, and once you have the paperwork, then we can go from there. I think that's awesome. Um, Perfect. I think that's awesome. Because I think a lot of people can become a Department of Education vendor, and then you might can just start getting these that journal into the schools too. That might be an amazing avenue for you. But that's something that we could talk about offline. Um, one more thing. If if you could talk to your 21-year-old self, or you know what? How about this? If stranger came up to you, she was 21, 20 years old, young girl, she said, D, I need advice. What would you tell her just about life? Like, what advice would you give her?
Just some random.
Yeah, I mean, a 21-year-old, a young girl, she's looking for
So
advice.
I actually have a sister who just turned 22.
Perfect.
She doesn't listen to me.
Of course not.
Um, um, if she asks me for advice about life, I would just say enjoy it. Enjoy it. There's really, I feel like I can't, there's so much I can say,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so much that I can try to warn you about.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you're still going to have to make mistakes for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're still going to have to just figure some things out on your own. But I think the most important thing I would probably say is to whatever decisions that you make in life,
Mm-hmm.
do it because it's what you want to do. Don't live your life to make other people happy. Live your life to make yourself happy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can try to please your parents, you can try to please your family, your friends, your whatever. But at the end of the day, this is your life. And I don't know what everyone believes when it comes to the afterlife, but like if you believe in a judgment day, I feel like you're only going to have to answer for yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be, they don't want to hear about what such and such was doing. So you shouldn't worry about what such and such is doing. Just worry about, for the most part, like worry about you and living your life for you.
Perfect.
So I think that's what I would probably, the advice that I would give.
Okay. Courtney said, yes, encourage all small businesses to get those vendor licenses because we can get more Black business owners in schools with kids that look like them. I think that would be super amazing because in a way, even with Path Wellness, if you became a DOE vendor and had that license, you can get into schools too and start actually creating that change that we were just talking about as far as um, that communal change too, and getting kids to think at an early age about those type of things.
Mhm.
So that's a really good idea. Court, thank you so much. I appreciate it. She's a
Well, thank you
an
for that
edge. Yeah,
advice.
yeah. She's an educator. She teaches kids too. She's amazing. Um, so it is 6 o'clock. I just want to say thank you again for doing this with me. I really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you
Yeah,
for having me. This was
yeah,
fun.
yes. We celebrate you and all of your accomplishments and all that you're doing and putting into this world. Um, and hopefully, we could do this one more time or a few more times. All right,
Yes,
all right,
definitely, definitely.
all right. Thank you. Take care, man. Oh,
Thank
we'll talk.
you. And thank you for all you're doing. I know I haven't been catching them lately. I
And
gotta
that's
come on just to see your lives, but I know Mark's been watching them. I've been telling him you need to go and I haven't even been watching them. I'm like, you need to go watch Terrence's lives.
married life, married life. Yes. Shout out to
But
Mark.
yeah, he's been watching them, I know, because sometimes like as I'm passing I hear. But thank you so much for this. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah.
And maybe I can have you on my YouTube channel one day.
Hey, let's work together. We could do it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything for you. I already told you. Anything from me, you got it from me. 100%.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Everybody,
Thank you.
go get that journal. The Glow Journal. It's on Amazon. Created by one of our own. Please get that. Take care, man.
All right. Have a great weekend.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Okay. Bye.